foods that lower cortisol. It began with a single drop of sweat rolling down my temple on a perfectly cool autumn morning, October 17th to be exact, as I stood in my kitchen staring at a jar of honey like it held the secret to undoing years of exhaustion. My hands trembled slightly, not from caffeine, not from fear, but from something far more insidious, the invisible weight of stress that had settled into my bones like a second skeleton. I had read somewhere that chronic stress doesn't just wear you down, it rewires you. And the conductor of that rewiring, the silent puppeteer pulling strings inside your brain and bloodstream, is a hormone called cortisol. For months, I'd been chasing sleep, chasing calm, chasing anything that felt like peace, only to wake up each morning with my heart already racing before my feet even touched the floor. That's when I decided to stop treating symptoms and start hunting causes. And what I discovered? That the foods we eat, especially the ones grown by the earth and untouched by laboratories, can either feed or fight the fire of cortisol, changed everything. Cortisol is not the enemy. Let's be clear about that from the start. It's your body's loyal alarm system, the chemical flare that shoots through your veins when danger appears, sharpening your senses, quickening your pulse, preparing you to run or fight. Without it, we wouldn't survive a single day. But here's the problem. In our modern world, the saber-toothed tiger never leaves. Emails ping like war drums. Traffic jams stretch into eternity. News cycles scream catastrophe 24 hours a day. And so, cortisol, designed for short bursts, becomes a constant hum, a low-grade poison seeping into every organ, every thought, every dream. Over time, it erodes memory, weakens immunity, thickens waistlines, and dims the light behind your eyes. But what if I told you that your kitchen holds antidotes? Not pills, not powders, but real, whole, natural foods that speak the same biochemical language as your body and whisper, "It's safe now, you can rest." Take ashwagandha, for instance. Not a spice you'd find in your grandmother's pantry, perhaps, but a root revered for millennia in Ayurvedic medicine. I first tried it steeped in warm milk on a night when my mind refused to quiet, spinning worst-case scenarios like a dervish. Within an hour, something shifted. Not a sedation, not a fog, but a gentle grounding, as if my nervous system had finally exhaled. Modern science now confirms what ancient healers knew. Ashwagandha helps regulate the hypothalamic pituitary axis, the very command center that orders cortisol production. In one study, participants who took ashwagandha extract daily for 60 days saw their cortisol levels drop by nearly 30%. 30%! Imagine reclaiming nearly a third of your inner calm just by sipping a golden-hued tea before bed. And it's not alone. Rhodiola rosea, a hardy herb that grows in Arctic tundras and Siberian mountains, has been used by Russian cosmonauts and Olympic athletes to combat fatigue and mental burnout. It doesn't suppress cortisol. It teaches your body to respond to stress with resilience, not panic. These aren't magical cures, but allies, plants that evolved alongside humans, offering biochemical wisdom we've only recently begun to decode. But you don't need exotic roots to begin. Sometimes the most powerful medicine grows in your backyard or sits in your fruit bowl. Consider the humble avocado. Creamy, rich, packed with heart-healthy monounsaturated fats and more potassium than a banana, it's also a stealth regulator of stress hormones. Why? Because cortisol production drains your body of magnesium and potassium, minerals essential for nerve function and muscle relaxation. When those stores run low, your body interprets that depletion as yet another threat, triggering even more cortisol. It's a vicious loop. But eat an avocado and you replenish those reserves, signaling safety to your adrenal glands. I started adding half an avocado to my morning smoothie, not for weight loss, not for trends, but because I noticed that on days I ate it, my shoulders didn't hunch toward my ears by noon, my breath came easier, my thoughts unclenched. And it wasn't just me. A study published in the journal Nutrients found that people who consumed diets rich in potassium and magnesium reported significantly lower perceived stress and showed more stable cortisol rhythms throughout the day. Food, it turns out, isn't just fuel, it's conversations, and every bite is a sentence in the dialogue between your gut and your brain. Then there's the matter of sugar, or rather the absence of it. I used to think that a square of dark chocolate or a spoonful of maple syrup was harmless, even healthy, and in moderation, they can be. But what I didn't realize was how blood sugar spikes and crashes mimic the physiological effects of real danger. When you eat refined sugar or processed carbohydrates, your blood glucose rockets upward, prompting a surge of insulin to drag it back down. If it drops too fast, your body panics, mistaking hypoglycemia for a life-threatening emergency, and releases cortisol to mobilize stored energy. So that mid-afternoon crash after a sugary lunch, it's not just fatigue. It's your body sounding a false alarm, flooding your system with stress hormones for no reason other than a poor food choice. I tested this myself. For 1 week, I eliminated all added sugars and white flour. No pastries, no sweetened yogurt, no healthy granola bars loaded with honey and dates. By day 3, my afternoon anxiety vanished. By day 5, I woke without that familiar knot in my stomach. My cortisol wasn't being hijacked by my snack drawer. And the kicker? When I reintroduced a single sugary muffin on day 8, the jittery, hollow feeling returned within 2 hours, proof that my body had recalibrated to a quieter baseline. Natural doesn't always mean sweet. Sometimes it means choosing a handful of walnuts over a cookie, or slicing an apple with almond butter instead of reaching for jam. These small swaps aren't deprivation, they're liberation from a biochemical roller coaster you never asked to ride. Fermented foods deserve their own quiet revolution in this story. Kimchi, sauerkraut, kefir, miso, these aren't just trendy gut health buzzwords. They're living ecosystems that reshape your microbiome. And your microbiome, astonishingly, talks directly to your brain via the vagus nerve. Scientists now refer to the gut as the second brain, and for good reason. 90% of serotonin, the feel-good neurotransmitter, is made in the intestines. But here's the cortisol connection. An imbalanced gut, overrun with harmful bacteria due to antibiotics, processed foods, or chronic stress, sends inflammatory signals upward, triggering the HPA axis to release more cortisol. It's a feedback loop, where stress begets gut chaos, which begets more stress. But introduce beneficial bacteria through natural fermentation, and the conversation changes. In a landmark study, women who consumed probiotic-rich yogurt twice daily for 4 weeks showed reduced activity in brain regions associated with emotion and pain when exposed to stressful stimuli. Their cortisol responses were measurably calmer. I began eating 2 tablespoons of homemade sauerkraut with lunch, not for the tang, though I grew to love it, but because within a week, my afternoon irritability softened. My dreams became less chaotic. It felt like I had installed a buffer between the outside world and my nervous system. And the best part? These foods have been part of human diets for thousands of years, long before we understood the science. Our ancestors weren't just preserving vegetables, they were preserving sanity. Of course, no discussion of natural cortisol regulation would be complete without mentioning tea. Not the sugary bottled kind, but real tea, steeped leaves from the Camellia sinensis plant. Green tea, in particular, contains an amino acid called L-Theanine, which crosses the blood-brain barrier and promotes alpha brainwaves, the same relaxed, alert state experienced during meditation. Unlike caffeine alone, which can spike cortisol in sensitive individuals, L-Theanine tempers that effect, creating a calm focus rather than jittery energy. I switched from coffee to matcha in the mornings, whisking the vibrant green powder into hot water with a bamboo chasen, turning the ritual itself into a form of mindfulness. Within days, my morning cortisol surge, the one that used to make me feel like I was already late for a meeting that hadn't happened, smoothed out. My heart didn't pound, my thoughts didn't race. And research backs this up. Multiple trials show that regular green tea consumption correlates with lower baseline cortisol and improved stress resilience. Even black tea, often dismissed as too stimulating, has been shown in studies to accelerate cortisol recovery after stressful events. Participants who drank black tea 4 times a day for 6 weeks returned to baseline cortisol levels 50% faster after a stressful task than those who drank a placebo. 50% faster. That's not just chemistry. That's reclaiming hours, days, years of your life from the grip of unnecessary tension. But let's not romanticize nature into a cure-all. Natural products work best when woven into a larger tapestry of intentional living. You can drink ashwagandha tea and eat avocados until you're green, but if you're scrolling through doom-filled news feeds at midnight or skipping sleep to meet impossible deadlines, your cortisol will keep rising like a tide. The foods are allies, not magicians. They create the conditions for calm, but you must meet them halfway, with rest, with boundaries, with moments of stillness. I learned this the hard way. For weeks, I focused only on diet, ignoring the fact that I was still answering work emails at 2 in the morning. My cortisol dipped slightly, but my exhaustion remained. Only when I paired my new food choices with a strict digital sunset, no screens after 9 p.m., did I feel the true shift. My body finally believed it was safe. And that belief, more than any single nutrient, is what lowers cortisol. The deep cellular knowledge that you are not under siege. So where does this leave us? Standing in the kitchen perhaps, jar of honey in hand, but now with new eyes. Every meal is a chance to soothe or stimulate your stress response. Every snack is a vote for chaos or calm. The power isn't in perfection, it's in awareness. You don't need to overhaul your life overnight. Start with one change. Swap your afternoon soda for a cup of green tea. Add a spoonful of sauerkraut to your sandwich. Keep a bowl of walnuts on your desk instead of candy. Notice how your body responds. Track the subtle shifts, the easier mornings, the quieter mind, the deeper breaths. These are not small things. They are the quiet rebellion against a world that profits from your anxiety. And the most radical act of self-care might just be choosing, again and again, to feed your body what it truly recognizes as home. If this journey has taught me anything, it's that healing is not a destination, but a daily practice, a series of small, deliberate choices that accumulate into resilience. The science is clear, the traditions are ancient, and the path is open to anyone willing to listen to what their body has been trying to say all along. So go ahead, step into your kitchen, open your pantry, and ask yourself, what story do I want my food to tell my hormones today? Because every bite is a sentence, and you are the author. And if you've made it this far, you already know the next chapter is yours to write. Keep reading, keep experimenting, keep trusting the wisdom of the earth and your own intuition. The calm you seek isn't out there in some distant future. It's simmering in your pot, steeping in your cup, waiting for you to taste it.